We'll begin with the cultural aspects of Mauryan era, and that is also a very important idea. After a gap of more than 1,000 years, the monumental structures begin once more. Before Mauryan Empire, if you want to look at the great architecture, you have to go back to Harappan era. We have cities and whatnot. Once Harappa is declined, the monumental architecture is gone. It took years and years, centuries and centuries for Aryans to come, settle, evolve, a new urbanization to emerge in Ganga Valley, Janapadas, Mahajanapadas, then Magadha to rise. And once you have a great territorial state of Mauryan Empire, then you have the re-beginning of great structures. So ये अब यहाँ से आगे हमारा दोबारा इतिहास शुरू होता है आर्ट एंड कल्चर का. In between, what we had is primarily literature, literature, literature. Now we go back to literature plus some sculpture, some architecture, some other physical aspects. Let us look at some features in the beginning. Brief, basic overview. As I said, we have a variety of structures that again start to appear. They are actually in lot of variety. You have different typologies of them. Generally, we divide them in religious and secular, or religious, and in this case, royal. So when you look at religious architecture, we have stupas. We have to look at them in detail, but stupas in this era are not very monumental, not very great, and hardly any stupa has survived. We know that Ashoka built apparently thousands and thousands of stupas. एक जमाने में ऐसे कहा जाता था कि in Buddhist literature it is said Ashok built thousands and thousands of stupas. उसने पूरी treasury फूक डाली, and that led to the decline of Mauryan treasury, and that led to the decline of Mauryan empire. It was a theory, hypothesis rather, of some people. Now that is not corroborated, so we have rejected that. But one thing is for sure, Ashoka seems to have built many stupas, but stupas were very simple. The way they look today in front of our eyes, like Sanchi stupa, were not the stupas that were built by Ashoka. Ashoka ने simple stup बनाए थे, but they were large and permanent. That is important. Then we have rock cut architecture, chaityas and viharas. The oldest chaityas go back to Mauryan era only. We don't have any chaitya before that. So it is the beginning of this new type of architecture altogether. And then we have pillars, Ashokan pillars, Mauryan pillars with inscriptions and sculptures. Inscriptions we have already seen, but the pillar architecture and sculptural aspect that we are yet to see. Apart from that, we also have certain royal architecture which is not connected with Buddhism, and that is pillared halls and wooden palisade. Palisade matlab compound wall, fence, palisade at Pataliputra. तो पहली बात तो यह है कि we have variety of architecture. Secondly, we have that architecture not being a simple one, but monumental, that behooves the reflection. It's a manifestation of the reflection of a great territorial power. The vastness and the monumentality of the architecture gives us an idea how strong the empire was. And then you also see that this architecture is spread across India, southeast, northwest. But for example, look at the Ashokan edicts only, Ashokan pillars. Those pillars are found in many parts, but they're all uniform. Why? Because they're funded by one person, that is the king. The stupas also reflect the ideas of the king. So because they reflect idea of one person, because the patronage is one single person, it is a royal court, it's a palace art. The ideas, architecture is not important in itself per se. It is important also because it reflects certain grandiose ideas, monumental ideas. So जो fund कर रहा है, the patron wants to send across some message, and we want to try to read that message. And that message is uniform across India because भेजने वाला एक ही इंसान है. That's why this art doesn't reflect the aesthetic test of common people. वो नहीं है. It is the aesthetics, it is the ethics, it is the vision of court, elite, power elites, and not common people. Yet, we also have some amount of popular art being present. When I say popular art, I don't mean famous. ये movie बड़ी popular हो गई है. It is the incorrect meaning of the word popular. Popular means लोगों की, जनता की. जनता की पसंद की, वो सेकेंडरी कॉन्सिक्वेंस हो सकता है, बट जनता की. पॉपुलर वर्सेस रॉयल. तो राजा का रॉयल, जनता का पॉपुलर. So when I say popular art, it means the art created by people, the art consumed by people, common people. If you look at that art form, obviously it would not be as aesthetically refined as royal art, जहाँ पैसे ज़्यादा लगे हैं. It would not be as rich, as refined as the royal art. The raw material would also be perhaps a little bit cheaper. Yet, yet what you'll have is that this art would reflect the common people's ethos very well. So you know when you pick up a piece of art, what story it tells and whose story it tells. The popular art tells the story of common people. The royal art tells the story of the royal people. By and large, the royal art has been more attractive, more surviving, and that's why it also considers more attention from us. Ashokan pillar. Now this is the this map is not very clear, but it's okay. This is the idea of this is spread of Ashokan pillars. Some major, some minors. Ashokan edits rocks may be hote, but rocks are not here present. The points are located only for pillars. We have, for example, Sankisa. We have, for example, Sanchi, Allahabad, Sarnath, etc. We'll see them later on. यहाँ पे देखो. These are the major pillar sites. Major pillar edicts के sites. One is Sanchi, Sarnath, Vaishali, Rampurva, Lauria Nandangad, Lauria Araraj, and Sankisa. Lauria Nandangad and Sankisa. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So only from 6 places we have found Ashokan pillar edicts with major edicts. माइनर तो और भी जगह मिले हुए हैं, बहुत सारे बतेरे हैं, बट मेजर पिलर एडिक्ट्स आर फाउंड ओनली एट दिस 6 प्लेसेस एंड देयर टोटल 7 मेजर पिलर एडिक्ट्स. वो 6 की जगह 7 है. नाउ लुक एट इन ईच एंड एवरी पिलर, व्हाट यू गेट टू सी is how the pillar looks like. By and large, it is this kind of architecture. What you have is a shaft. Secondly, what you have is something called as inverted lotus. Then you have a black platform, and then we have certain sculpture. We call this as shaft. We call this as inverted lotus. We call this part as a base, or technically abacus, ABACUS, and then this would be some kind of sculpture on the top. अब top पे आता है तो सर की तरह है, तो we call it capital. Capital. A capital or sculpture. So every Ashokan pillar or Mauryan pillar is generally seem to have 4 parts: shaft, inverted lotus, abacus, and capital. If you look at all of them, they have certain common characteristics. Firstly, they don't have any base. When I say don't have base, मतलब उनको कोई ऐसे नीचे बड़ा सा एरिया पत्थर का नहीं है. They are just buried in the ground as it is. So they would be like जमीन के अंदर ऐसे जाएंगे, जमीन यहाँ पे रहेगी, बस खत्म. No strong base. Why it is important that? Because the pillars are quite strong. The height is up to 14 meters, sometimes 10 meters, 11 meters, 12 meters, up to 14 meter. पता है कितने होते हैं? From this base to floor to ceiling, you have maximum 3 meters. 3.5 मीटर ले लो आप. जब 14 मीटर की बात करते हैं, मतलब आप कम से कम 4 से 5 मंजिल की बात करो. 4 to 5 floors. 4 to 5 मतलब एक पूरी बिल्डिंग की हाइट हो गई. इतना बड़ा पिलर, एंड दैट हैज नो बेस, स्टिल इट इज स्टैंडिंग वर्टिकल, क्योंकि धस्सा जमीन के अंदर इतना खोले वो. Secondly, because they are so high or say tall, they need some kind of a stability, so they have tapering diameter. Tapering diameter मतलब diameter here will be little lesser than over here. You can see it. यहाँ थोड़ा बड़ा base है, यहाँ थोड़ा छोटा diameter है. It provides some stability, tapering. The shaft is generally plain and circular. It is not square. It is not fluted. Fluted का मतलब क्या होता है? If you take the cross section, जैसे ये shaft है, if you take the cross section, it looks like circle. That's all. It does not look like square or rectangle. It also does not look like fluted. मतलब उसके ऊपर कुछ ऐसा ऐसा किया होगा. या फिर ऐसे ऐसे किया हुआ. It is not like that. It is only plain circle. Why is this important? It is because such kind of fluted shafts are used by Persians. Achaemenid shafts are generally fluted. Fluting किया होता है. Indian shaft, Mauryan shaft, there is no fluting as such. Then the material is mostly Chunar sandstone. Chunar sandstone. Chunar is a place near Mirzapur in Uttar Pradesh. तो ऐसे माना जाता है कि वो एक पत्थर की खदान है, रॉक माइन और स्टोन माइन. And all the stone that is there across these plains, which is used by Ashoka, have come from one single place. That is, there are some people who dispute that. Some research says no, no, there is also some other place, etc. Maybe, may not be. By and large, NCERT says one single place. We'll go with one place. So my question was, if it is such a tall thing, 10-10, 12-12 मीटर लंबा, if it is monolithic, बहना से monolithic मतलब ये सिंगल पत्थर है, पूरा का पूरा शाफ्ट जो है सिंगल पत्थर, जुड़ा नहीं है कहीं. So if it is, now some people dispute that also, but by and large we agree monolithic. So monolithic shaft of multiple tons in weight in stone and such a tall shaft, all of them are quarried from one single place and shifted across North India 2300 years ago. How was it transported? And that is a big query. We have one sculpture from later histories which throw some light on the possibility of how it must have been transported. तो यहाँ पे इतने सारे बैल लगे हैं, यहाँ पे कुछ पहिए हैं and shaft है. It gives some idea. And if there is some river stream to cross, so most probably maximum distance was through river, and then for some short distance, such kind of arrangement was used. That is our logic. Then most of these shafts are polished. Now polishing is an identity. We don't know how they polished it, but उसको घिस घिस के इतना स्मूथ किया जैसे कोई आईना है, चमकता है वो. So this polishing is generally considered to be the identity of the Mauryan era. Any sculpture, any wall of any gufa, any cave, or even mm, any pillar, if it has polish, and even if it doesn't have a date, we can safely guess it to be belonging to Mauryan era. ना मौर्य के पहले ना बाद में polish was so prevalent. So polish is generally taken as the identity marker of Mauryan era architecture. Generally, it is not always true, but mostly it is true. Then abacus and capital. So you have this abacus, a platform. जैसे यहाँ पे you have a plain platform, square में. There is nothing on its edges which is sculpted, a plain edge. But यहाँ पे on the edges we have some Ashok Chakra, some animals. So abacus may or may not have some sculpturing on it, but there is some capital on top of it, which is mostly an animal. So in Mauryan pillars, they have not used humans. They have not used gods. It is either animals or some sacred symbols. That's all. No human architecture, at least in this pillar architecture. So we are now interested more into what are those animal sculptures. उनको थोड़ा देख लेते हैं. So you'll see there are total 7 animals are there. We have seen the photos just now, the 6 places, right? Sankisa, etc. in this map. So you have these 6 places, you have various animals. So what are those animals? You will see that there are 7 capitals at 6 places, because at one place we have found Rampurva, 2 capitals. Rampurva नाम की जगह पे आपको दो Ashokan pillars मिले हैं. So that place has 2 pillars, 2 capitals. So collectively 6 places and 7 capitals. Of them 5 are lions, 1 is elephant and 1 is zebu. Zebu मतलब बैल. ठीक है. So elephant, lions तो by default सब जगह है. तो लेटेस्ट बैल मतलब कौन सा बैल? जिसका ये हो, वशिंड. humped bull. Humped bull is called zebu, not humpless. Humped bull. So not all capitals are equally graceful. ये भी समझो. Like you have 5 lions, compare the beauty of the 5 lions. It is not the same. Now when I say that they quarried from same place, funded by same person, with same idea or the same religion, and they don't have the same style, ऐसे कैसे? It seems that they were not all created at the same time. over years and years, gradually they were created. So with time, the art became more and more refined. That is our hypothesis. There is no dating on the pillars, but if we just arrange them sequentially as per their refinement, the crudest one can be guessed to be the older one, and refined one can be guessed to be the latest one. ये guess work है, कोई date नहीं है prove, it's just guess work. Maybe, may not be. But my point is that if you have 5 lions, one elephant and one zebu, तो कौन सी जगह है याद करना पड़ेगा. तो let us remember it the other way around. Let us not remember lions कहाँ है. Remember elephant कहाँ, zebu कहाँ, बचे सारे lions ही है. Right? So elephant is found at a place called Sankisa. Now Sankisa is here in western UP. वहां पे ये वाला elephant है. That has survived. उसकी सूंड चली गई है, elephant बचा है. Sankisa is very important place in Buddhist mythology. It is this place. वो पता है गौतम बुद्धा, when he became Buddha, got enlightened, and he was giving message to everybody. One day he thought, मेरी माँ को मैं क्यों छोड़ दूं? माँ को भी I want to make Buddhist. But mother is dead. She died after 1 week of Buddha's birth. She is in heaven. So कहानी ये कहती है, Buddha went to heaven, gave उपदेश to his mother, and then came back on earth. The exact location where Buddha came back on earth is a village today in UP called Sankisa. So Sankisa गांव सच में गांव है, उसका बड़ा महत्व है बुद्धिज्म में. वहां पे ये अशोकन पिलर पाया जाता है, तो वहां पे एलिफेंट है. ठीक है. And then we have Zebu. So the place called Rampurva. Rampurva has 2 capitals, a lion and a Zebu. So बस रामपुरवा में zebu है, रामपुर में lion भी है, संकीसा में elephant है, everywhere else it is lion. बात खत्म. Now this Rampurva zebu is very interesting. It is, आपने देखा, it is in Delhi only. I have not put my own photo, but if you go to Rashtrapati Bhavan, at the entry of Rashtrapati Bhavan, सीढ़ियों पे रखा हुआ है बड़ा सा. That is Rampurva zebu, Rampurva bull. Extremely huge and beautiful. You can just go and touch that bull. Just स्पर्श करो उसको, मजा आता है बहुत. So look at some photos. Ashokan pillar at Lumbini, Nepal. So you see in Lumbini we have this pillar in Nepal where it is written अशोका ने कि मैं आपका 1/8 टैक्स माफ कर रहा हूँ because I have come here on धम्म यात्रा and you are all in the city or town where Buddha was born. So it doesn't have any abacus, it doesn't have any pillar, any capital. So वहाँ पे capital एक जमाने में था, mostly था, but it has not survived. We have multiple times more places where we have the fragments of the shafts only. The capitals have not survived. Many places, 20-30 places. Only 7 जगह कैपिटल बचा हुआ है, बाकी जगह बस पिलर के टुकड़े बचे हुए हैं. Example is this one. You have Ramgurua capitals. You see when it was excavated in 1876 by ACL Carlyle, how it looked like. इतने सारे लोग खड़े हैं, जमीन के अंदर इतना बड़ा पिलर है. That can add the monumentality. When you say monumental architecture began again, how huge it is. ठीक है, it's in West Champaran district. Then this is the one that gives you idea of the shape and size. You have Araraj, Rampurva lion, Sanchi, Rampurva bull, Topra. कि भाई इनकी हाइट क्या थी, 10 मीटर 10 मीटर एटसेट्रा 11 मीटर्स. एंड दिस इज द ग्राउंड सरफेस. एंड बची हुई जगह जो थी, दिस मच ऑफ द लेंथ वाज बिलो द, नीचे भी 2 से 3 मीटर, 3 मीटर और 10 मीटर ऊंचा, टोटल 14 मीटर हो जाता है. ठीक है. नाउ नागेश्वर टेम्पल अयोध्या. You see today there are lots of temples and lots of places where some fragments of possible Ashokan pillar at one point of time is used for worship item. We can't go and change it now. सदियों से वहां पे है वो. Here you have नंदी, वहां पे या कुछ स्कल्पचर है, स्कल्प शिवलिंग है शायद, एंड उसका पूरा बेस जो है, वो बेस है वो पूरा अशोकन, पॉसिबली अशोकन पिलर का एबाकस है. एबाकस नहीं, उसका इन्वर्टेड लोटस है. इट्स पॉसिबल, इट लुक्स लाइक, बट नाउ द पर्पस ऑफ इट्स यूज हैज चेंज्ड ओवर सेंचुरीज. एंड यहाँ पे कोई भक्ति हो रही है, ठीक है. देन see it changes in multiple ways. In the history of archaeology is extremely interesting. You go to बनारस, लाट भैरव. लाट भैरव का जो ये है, कुछ लोगों का मानना है ये भी अशोकन पिलर ही है, बट भैरव बाबा बन गए वो. It happens. You go to this masjid in Haryana, in Fatehabad, Hisar, Haryana. Here you have this Ashokan pillar. It's a part of a mosque. इसको दो तूने जोड़ दिए, पता नहीं क्या हुआ वहां पे. At what point of time it happened in Haryana? At least at 2 places, Ashokan Pillars is part of different mosques. So now things are repurposed for multiple reasons. But anyway, you have these photos where you get to see these pillars, pillar capitals. For example, Vaishali lion, very Sankisa elephant, but it is no more on the pillar. It is just put aside. Rampurva bull at the entry of Rashtrapati Bhavan. Lauria Nandangad. You have Rampurva lion. This Rampurva lion is kept today in Calcutta Museum. It's all painted black. I don't know why. And इसके पैर शायद टूट गए हैं. Then you go to Sanchi, the famous one, and Sarnath. Sarnath, everybody knows. In Bansi near Basti in UP, we have found certain paws. Pange mile hai. Perhaps there was some animal. Which one we don't know. The animal has not survived, but the paws have survived. So it indicates towards एक और capital which we lost over centuries.